I like the glow. It's a good look.
Well,
You're going full gamer.
dude, the problem the problem is now that I have these in the office, I can do shit like this. What is it?
Party mode.
Yeah, fucking full party mode.
In my old office, or well, in my oh yeah, that's nice. I think you can sync them to the music too, so that like the bass makes it turn on and off. In my
Yeah,
office at the shop, I went over the top with the stupid lights, and at one point, like every single surface had a glowing light under it, and then I got made fun of by everybody and had to stop using them.
yeah.
I was
Well,
I went
yeah,
full rainbow.
well, Nate, who works for us, he has like a game set up at home on his computer, and
Mhm.
basically like he like bought the shell is like clear so he could put LEDs in it, and like his mouse has LEDs, his everything has LEDs in it. And then he's like, yeah, I had to buy the RAM because I wanted to update it, but it was an extra like $35 per RAM stick to get them to have LEDs in them. And I was like, dude, like, why? What do you? If that's what you're into, I guess like
You
go for
gotta
it. But
you gotta show off. Computers are like the new car. All those dudes that used to like drop an air kit into their Honda Civic and do all the stupid stuff to it. Now they're just
yeah,
doing gaming computers.
yeah. Well, now your car is more of a computer if you get a Tesla. So,
Yeah, I don't even like drive. I've bought in gas once this whole month.
do you live close to the shop where you can do that?
No, I just don't go to the shop that much. Like I'll just not be at the shop for 4 days straight. And
Ah, are you just
it's
working
just
from
like
home?
work from. Yeah, but I mean, like, my core job is like emails and Slack. So even if I'm in the building, I'm on a computer doing emails and Slack.
Yeah,
And then maybe guys walk up and they like show me a physical shirt instead of showing me a picture of the shirt. And like 99% of the time being in the building doesn't help,
right. That makes
or it's a
sense.
distraction.
Yeah, if you can do it. Plus, it probably builds, employee morale if you're not around.
I mean, I think there's like I see a limit. Like if I disappear for 2 weeks, they somehow are just 30% slower.
Yeah,
So
you,
like you can't be too absent, but you can trust them for 2, 3 days.
yeah, you got to crack the whip once in a while.
Yeah, at some point they just don't do anything for an hour straight because no one's there. I've
So
noticed
how?
that with like cleaning actually. Like they'll finish their day's work at 3:30 and they just won't inform me that it's been done. So like for an hour and a half they're kind of doing nothing, but
Yeah,
if I was standing there I would have like given them something to do.
yeah. No, my problem is like I'm here, but I make it worse, I feel like, because I usually start like a joke or talk about something, and then all of a sudden everybody in every crevice of this building comes out and they're all part of the conversation now. And it's like we talk about dick and fart jokes for like 45 minutes, and then I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, guys, like I'm paying for this. Like I just paid like
Yeah.
10 people to sit here and talk about farts for, 45 minutes." I was like, "That was an expensive stupid conversation."
When I started out, I was like very like business-y. Like I'd like read those business books and like
Mm,
how to succeed and all that crap. That's just like when I was like 27 when I started the shop or something. So it was very much like, okay, I got to learn everything.
yeah.
And so I would talk to these guys that I was paying like barely over minimum wage about like, all right, this is how you become a millionaire. Cause I'd like read the book and I had to
Yeah.
realize like they don't want to hear this shit at all. Like
Yeah.
they want me to shut up. Like, and I was just telling them about these stupid books that I would read and stuff. And I had to realize like we're not like on the same like page. Like we just have to
Yeah.
like be like a good working relationship. I don't have to make everyone my best friend.
The best part is you're telling them how you can be a millionaire, and then you're paying them like a little over minimum wage, and you're in the
Oh
office.
yeah. Like some of my guys started for like $11 an hour when they started with me back then. So it was ridiculous. And I
This,
was like younger than some of them, which must have really pissed them off.
yeah, this is like a thing here. It's not like, well, it's not the truth, but like they always bust my ass where it's like, oh, I'm out here busting ass while you're upstairs counting cash or whatever. And it's like, I don't know. I invest almost everything that I make back into the company. So I'm like, not just like, oh, this week we had a really good order. I'm going to buy a boat. It's
Yeah,
like,
that
it's
doesn't
like,
happen at all.
yeah, it's like, no, I took all this money we made off of this and I just built like new offices or like bought you a new press or, did something more efficient to something or invested it in something else that's making this place better. So
Yeah. Well, and do you own that building?
yeah.
Did we start yet, by the way?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is it, man.
We're doing it.
This is
But
it.
yeah, the nice thing is, I don't know if you have a mortgage or not on that building, but you actually
Mhm.
like are getting something for your money. But like,
Yeah.
we paid 10 grand to lease a building that we'll never own.
Yeah.
And so like, when my guys are like, well, we made, whatever, we made $130,000 this month. How are you not just like reeling it all in? And I'm like, okay, well, your payroll's 30 something thousand. Like 40% of that was just cost of goods. And then
Yeah.
on top of
If
it,
not
I owe
more.
the landlord 10 grand. And this was a good month, not every month,
Yeah.
like, so it's like people, they forget how many expenses are in the business. Like if I wanted to get rich, I don't think I would do a screen printing shop.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. Yeah.
There's too much. It's too, it gets that like commodity level. Like we like to play in the art side of it and be premium, but it's still a t-shirt. So like at some point people just balk if you raise your prices too high.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, and that's something we've talked about this on a ton of times, is just kind of like there's different levels to different kinds of shops and like how you're trying to do things. Like, yeah, if you're thinking strictly business, you're like, okay, like how many shirts an hour can we get out of here? That press better not never stop running.
Yeah.
Like all that shit where they're buying $1 million piece of equipment to save like fucking 15 seconds or something. You know what I mean? It's like, and I'm not that guy. Like I basically buy stuff for quality of life for my employees to like have a chill day, and like we try to produce the best quality stuff we can during that day, but there's no like time. It's not like I tell them at all, like, you have to have this job done by this time. It's like, yeah, do it efficiently. And like, let's try to get as many jobs as we can done efficiently, but don't ever cross that threshold of like, you burn through a job to get it done and you're sacrificing something. Like, I don't want to sacrifice anything. If it takes extra spins, if it takes extra colors, let's do that to get it right and out the door. But like, let's not just fucking burn through jobs every day to just be like, we did 45 jobs today. It's like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'd rather have it be sweet and fun than try to worry about the bottom. Like, I made an extra, couple $100 today because we did extra jobs.
I've been in those environments where the shop is like super aggressive.
Yeah.
And it feels more like sweatshoppy.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably do make more money, but
they do.
They also burn people out and have crazy turnover of staff.
Yeah.
And so, like, I certainly don't want to do that. But the thing that makes me furious about doing an order wrong is when you end up having to eat the cost of all the blanks, do it again, and then you're going to, like, get trashed on Yelp. So it's like, so when I watch my guys say, this is stupid, I'm just going to run it, and I know that they're running the art at the wrong size or the Pantone's wrong or whatever it is, they think I'm going to save 30 minutes, but they don't realize that they're going to cost me $1,000.
Right.
They don't, the disconnect, they're just trying to like, they want to be out at 5. That's all they're
exactly.
thinking.
Yeah, I think the problem with that is that they need to know more of like the consequences, because it's the same thing. It's like they can feel a certain way about printing a job because they have no connection to the customer. They're never going to see the customer. They never have to get that shitty email. Yeah, they don't have to do any of it. It's like us in the office where it's like, you just told this person that their $10,000 is going to buy them this order or whatever, and then you do it, and they're just like, oh man, I bet I could get this done in a day, and they just like burn through the whole thing, and then like the placement was off on the niche, or something was wrong, and the customer gets it, like, these are too low, or this color is wrong or something. And it's like, dude, like, yeah, now I have to fix the whole fucking thing, but I also have to get yelled at as a grown-ass man by another grown-ass man. Like, that shit sucks. That's embarrassing as fuck. Yeah,
it's awful. And then the awful thing is, I've seen a lot of times where, like, I'll get this horrible email about, the shirts are awful, and they'll send a picture, and, like, the picture is awful. But then I'll find out that they had just buried their misprints because they didn't want to tell us that they did misprints. So then we didn't buy them and replace them. So then the customer, who's anal, digs through their boxes, finds a bad shirt, and doesn't trust you because 10 shirts got buried that are misprints, and the rest of the order's fine.
Yeah.
But your people just embarrass you by like trying to hide something And it looks like the whole company does that as like a
Well,
policy.
the worst part about that is if they find, like, say the guy out there is like, all right, I don't want to have one misprint or two shirts that are shitty. I just won't tell Dylan, and I'll just put them in the box and I'll ship them out. The problem is that I would much rather, and I've told them this, I'm like, if you mess up, like have a misprint, that's why we have a misprint allowance. Like
Yeah.
shit happens, like whatever. Like come and tell me that you messed up 3 shirts. And if I can get it fixed, then we can leave it on press and I'll order the shirts and we'll do them again tomorrow. Like, cool, we'll do that. Worst case scenario, you just call the customer or email the customer and be like, hey, I'm gonna refund you for those 3 shirts because they got messed up out of like 100 shirts or whatever.
Yeah.
And here's a refund, and on top of that, I'll give you some kind of discount on the next order, like free shipping or whatever, just for the inconvenience that you're missing 3 shirts. Like I would way rather do that than have them bury those 3 shirts in the order, because what's going to happen is the customer's going to get that order. They're going to find that 1 or 2 shitty shirts. Then they're going to go through every shirt in that order and they're going to nitpick. Like they're going to lay them down and get out a ruler and be like, oh, this one's not 2 inches. It's 2 1/4. That one's wrong. And then they're going to make a whole pile, and they're going to have like 50 shirts where they're nitpicking everything. And then they're going to like go on Google and give you a 1 star and say, fuck this place, never go there again.
Yeah. Well, and then you end up starting to explain to them that like t-shirt sewing sucks too.
Yeah.
So they end up, when you start measuring a shirt, like, yeah, the like shoulder to neck isn't even. And like, if you go down from the center of the neck, it can literally make your print look crooked just because they did a bad job on the neckline. And it doesn't even matter what blanks they bought.
Yeah.
All hand sewn to some extent. So like, yeah, it's exhausting. I also hate when customers will give me like a perfect circle or a perfect rectangle, and then I have to explain to them that fabric moves.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we printed a solid rectangle, but when you put it on your body, you are not flat.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
I know. Well, we tried to eliminate that as much as possible with like the eye image and all that stuff, because it's nice because we could just be like, we have the presses set to basically where no matter what we're doing, no matter what job we're doing, we're always pulling the shirt or whatever garment to the edge of the pallet. So like the collar is always at the edge of the pallet. And then Brian in the art room is always making them higher or lower on the screen when it goes to the eye image. So the printers never have to think about that, which is nice. Cause like before it was always in notes. It was like, make sure it's 2 inches, 2 1/4 below the collar. And then they have to sit out there and be like, okay, it's 2 1/4. It's like, now it's like no brainer. It's like every garment is to the edge of the pallet. And then it's the correct distance down and all that stuff. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying though. Like perfect circles and rectangles on apparel, it sucks. Like you have to have your tack perfectly right too, because if it's too tacky,
then
you're stretching it and then it does this.
I had that conversation with a customer today where he had done like a perfect circle of his own text. And it was so obvious when it got wobbly on any shirt that I was like, you should probably just redo this art. Like, if it's going to bother you, why don't we just not run this? And you can just, like, it's ugly art anyway. Can we maybe just make it a little better? And
that's what you got to tell your customers, that this art is ugly. Let's just not do it.
It's shocking how much people will pay you to print crap art. Like, you'll get a $3,000 order. Someone talks about how they're starting their brand and they're so excited and they're going to do all this crap. And then you look at the art and it sucks. It's like you didn't even put $50 worth of effort into the art, and you're going to spend $3,000 on a brand that won't sell 2 shirts.
Yeah. Hey man, art is subjective. Okay. That guy might have something you don't think is cool, but to him, it's the coolest thing there is.
Well,
it's usually like their last name too. Like it's the guy's name, and they're like, I'm going to sell so many of these.
In LA, we get a ton of people who think it's a great idea to put like king on a shirt. And it's like, that's it. We're just going to write the word king with a crown. And they're like, yeah, that's for the guys. For the women, it'll say queen. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Pretty sure that's everywhere online, but good brand.
Yeah. I mean, it works. So how's things for you guys right now?
It's like February, March never ended. So all of our live printing money completely gone. All of our concert bands, nothing. And all of our like conventions that would have happened, 0. So I would say this month will be down 30%, but we don't have to lay people off.
Yeah.
So it's like survival mode, or a little better than survival mode. I know that some shops in my neighborhood are already out of business.
Yeah.
So I guess we're doing good. We had like an e-commerce like footprint. I feel really bad for anyone who was like supplying high schools. They got nuked. If
Yeah.
you were like a guy with 2 or 3 schools and that was your whole business because you were like on a manual, those guys got destroyed.
Yeah. No, for 100%. And I feel like anybody who had somewhat of a foothold in like your business is online, like not even fulfillment, but just like you had customers on the internet, like they're like what you're saying, like, oh, we're okay. Like we'll make it through this because we have customers elsewhere. But like if you were specifically local or like you said, schools, or you only did bands on tour, it was like,
Oh
you got
no.
fucking creamed.
Yeah, we have I guess yeah, I just won't say their name. We have this merch management company. They're a big merch management company, like they're national, and we're like one of their West Coast printers. They're the kind of place that has like 8 shops printing
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
And they went from every single week, you know, anywhere from 3 to 10 orders just in our shop to I haven't heard from them in like 3 weeks now. Last time I heard from them, it was like some samples that they might try to sell online. Like they don't know what to do with staff. They don't know when they could ever come back. And it was all like on-site concert merch management.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Yeah. Like it definitely sucks to like hear that other shops are going out of business and all that stuff, but like let's be honest though, like in the back of your mind you're like, yeah.
Fire sale. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's going to be equipment for sale online, there's going to be more work for us.
There's going to be legit staff available.
Yeah, people actually know how to print.
Guys,
Like I said, I don't want to talk shit about any shops because that sucks. Like that would be a nightmare if that ever happened to us. But like our own local, like we don't do a lot of local at all. Like it's mostly just national, like anything we get basically. But I don't really focus at all on local. I just get local business because we're in the area and like obviously we know people who know people and then we get work. But in Binghamton, like we're outside of Binghamton, we're kind of like in the sticks. But Binghamton's our closest city, and there's a lot of work to be had in Binghamton. But there was like 2 shops in the city that handled almost all the city work. Like, yeah, we did a lot of like bigger companies there, but like weren't doing like all the restaurants and like the university and like all this other stuff. Like these places were doing it. Both of those shops went out of business
at the same
time. Yeah. So like
God.
I'm like right now I'm kind of like fuck, I might hire somebody to just like hit up everybody in the city. Like,
you need to do that.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That's kind of what we're doing, but it's like it's funny cuz it sucks to a degree to be like, man, it sucks that they like went out of business, but it's also like
you should just
like this shit's available. Like I'm not going to deny it.
You should pay somebody to just literally walk in with one printed shirt for like every local business. Just have them like walk around and be like, hey, here's your sample pack, like in a little envelope.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be so much opportunity if both shops went down. In LA, we have like 90 shops, so I need a lot of people to go down.
Yeah, I don't have that. I literally like, we're one of the bigger shops by far, like in the area. And it's like those guys were like decent, like size shops, not like huge shops at all. Like
were they auto or
they have like one auto, but it's like a 6 color. You know what I mean? Like doing nothing but like 1 to 3 color prints all day. And they just were that. They were that kind of company where they only did like local stuff, and it just, you know, they can't pay their rent. They're also like one of the companies was really old, like been around for a really long time. They probably just saw it as an opportunity to be like, fuck it, I'm going to retire.
It's over.
And then the other one was just like, yeah, there's nothing here. Like I'm done.
Did you guys do like PPP and stuff, or did you just run?
No, we just went with it.
You didn't even take the money because it was there?
No, well, the problem was, is like, I don't trust a lot of it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, here, take this money. And then like later on, I'm going to get screwed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do it. Plus my employees, like, honestly, were making more money. Like if I just worked 3 days a week and then everybody else like took 2 days off, they were making that fucking bonus money every week. So like if I would have taken PPP, they would have like lost out. Like I would have gained, like as an owner, I would have gained a bunch of money to like pay all my utilities and pay like their payroll and all this other stuff. And like,
Mhm.
I would have had money in my pocket, but I didn't want to screw them over. Like, hey, if they're handing out free money, like, I mean, obviously, again, it's not free money; it's tax money. Like, they're gonna have to pay that shit in their taxes at some point. But
Hey, that's your grandchildren, okay? We print money now. That's what we
yeah,
do. $100 is going to be worth $10 in about a year. Don't worry
yeah.
about it.
I
Well,
just,
I mean,
I
we
just
took
looked at the
it.
whole thing and was just like, what's the best scenario for everybody here?
Yeah,
Because the nice thing with me owning the building is like I had like no overhead. Like I own the
right.
presses, I own all the equipment, everything. So realistically, I could keep this place open even if I sent everybody home and I wanted to sit on the couch for 6 months.
You could just lock the door.
I can just lock the door and then when
Yeah,
everything's over, come back in and be like, all right, let's go.
a lot of businesses can't do that.
Yeah. Well, that's like I said. It's like, I mean, it sucks for a lot of people that have that. Like you're saying, your rent is super high where you are. It's like if I was where you are doing the same business I have here, like I would be in a lot more trouble just because
Mhm.
if I had to shut down, then I would still owe that rent every month.
I mean, that's why I keep talking about leaving LA. Like, especially now that LA seems very unattractive. The becoming a shop like you and just moving our credibility somewhere else has become a lot more interesting.
Well, I feel like the whole thing with that is it again, it depends on like what your niche is and what your market is. Like for us, it's like we can do just about anything, but all of our customers online. Like nobody is local to where they
Yeah.
have to come here. You know what I mean? Like if your focus is like downtown LA, it's nice because your customers can pick up and all this other stuff. But there's no reason to say you can't find like a really rural area in
Hmm.
California that like your rent is like way fucking lower and do
Oh,
the
or
exact same work.
yeah, I mean, I could just buy a steel warehouse building every single year for the cost of my rent.
Right. Yeah. Fuck that. For me, it was just like an investment in real estate to where like I have my whole shop. I have 2 rental spaces, and I have plenty of room for my own stuff. So like I'm making money off of this building, really, with the rental income.
Yeah, right.
So
I got to do something like that because at this point, I could just offer free shipping to every customer so that any existing customers don't have an excuse to be mad.
mhm.
And I could be anywhere. I
Yeah.
mean, if I'm a 1 day ship, it doesn't matter where I am, and it's crazy to, especially now, like commercial real estate in our, even though we're trapped in a lease, but the commercial real estate has dropped like 20% in our neighborhood in only this summer. So the four lease signs are getting completely insane, and here I am paying 2019 prices on this building that
Mhm.
like sucks.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
Yeah. No, I fully get it. And I've had this discussion too where like you're saying, you're home. Like you might go to the shop once in a while. Like realistically, I could be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to Hawaii for a month or I'm gonna do this." As long as I have a laptop, I can do any of this.
Yeah, right.
Like as an owner, I have that luxury to be like, as long as I'm like paying the bills and managing things, and if they have a question, they can text me or whatever. Like I can pretty much go do whatever I want. And now, like being in business for this long, I can easily like Chris is the shop manager. I can just be like, "Hey, run this place until I'm back," and then like I
Hmm.
don't have to do anything. Like not that I want to do that. Like I love being here every day and I love like the work, but it's like the peace of mind to just be like, "Oh, I could run this business from anywhere."
This one guy I know, he sold his business to his employees, and then his employees took out like a $300,000 small business loan to pay him off. So he walked away with 300K to just walk away, and he had a lease and stuff. He didn't own the building, so he got 300K to walk away, and then the exact same staff who always did the work just now got a percentage of profit, and then they paid themselves the same
So what did you do before all printing stuff?
printing stuff. I've
Or you said
I
you started the shop at what, 27?
Yeah, but I was just coming out of other shops. So in
Oh.
high school, we did I don't know what it was called, some sort of ROP screen printing class.
Mhm.
So I took that like 5 semesters or something in a row because they just kept letting me take it. And so that guy just let me do whatever I wanted. He wouldn't give me assignments. So I would just hang out in the shop and like make weird stuff. And then in high school, I landed my first job for like an elementary school and made like $600, and it took me an hour to print. and I was like, I'm done. I'm not learning anything else.
This is all I'm gonna do.
And so in college, I hustled it to like make random money on like a manual, like one of those silver spinner garbage 4x1s. And then I went to
That's the technical term for it. Garbage spinner.
garbage spinner.
Yeah. I think Ryonet sells that, right?
Yeah. I literally bought it like I remember like baby Mohawk Ryan, like watching the YouTube video and being like, oh, that'll work. That's my budget.
Yeah. I've had one.
Yeah, I think everyone had one. It's like the ultimate hobby press.
That's exactly what it is, though, and that's what he marketed it as. It's like it's a hobby. There's no registration on that thing. It's just like,
oh yeah,
like you definitely have a hammer.
You know what's actually pretty good because we use it for live printing is the Riley Jr.
Dude, we love those.
That one with the micro, it's pretty great. Like you could make like $100,000 on that if you just wanted to hustle really hard.
Yeah,
you can make like $100,000 on that little thing.
Yeah. It's like we did a podcast with Juan, and he was saying that he wants to start a company that's just called One Hit That's It, and it's just one color prints. I was like, you could just do that with that. You could just get a 4-color single station Riley or whatever, and just fucking do one color prints all day long. Black ink on white shirts.
Advertise your service as like $3.50, no matter what. Yeah, like that's it, including the shirt, $3.50. Done. Ready to go.
That's hell of a business model. Somebody should do it.
I am sure that I guess everyone kind of does it, right? Yeah. Doesn't Terminus Tees run those ads? Have you seen their ads?
Yeah. Yep.
Those dudes, they're always showing like $3 and $4 tees in their ads. I'm assuming it's like a Gildan 5000 with a one color.
That's exactly what it is. I used to work there.
Really? I had no idea.
Yeah. That's where I started.
Are they cool or?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, you got history?
Well, there you go. Yeah, well, a lot of people know my story, but basically, like, I started a company here in New York where I'm from, and then I was outsourcing to Terminus in Atlanta, and then they bought my button company that I had, and then I moved down there and did sales for them for like a year and a half, 2 years, and then I came back to New York because I didn't like Georgia. And then I started Upstate in 2009. So, when I was there, basically that was like one of the things like I had a hand in was making like the one color specials and like, I don't know, a lot of like the support local music stuff and just a bunch of like marketing stuff they did there. So like when I came back, I kind of had the same thing. Like I did for the first, I don't know, years, we did that one color special. I actually just like funny we're talking about. I just put out another one color special today just because like we haven't done it in a while. It's like it's exactly that. It's like basically what you want to do is you want to put out the one color special. So yeah, it's like not your normal pricing and it's like a deal. But the thing is, it's like with the autos and everything, if somebody gets, say, a construction crew or whatever gets 100 Gildans with a one color print, you can print that fucking job in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like do the whole job for $400, ship it out. Like you're charging them shipping and you're charging them for like 2X and 3X and stuff. It's not like every shirt's $4, but like to get them in the door is the $4, basically like the small through extra large. And then like you do the job in 10, 15 minutes and it's out. Like go on to the next thing. It's just like good filler jobs if you need it.
Yeah. I mean, if we find ourselves booked a week and a half out, so I never want to, shirt agencies never run a sale. Like in the history of all time, we've just raised prices. That's all we've ever done. So, like if you get me in the, like, especially in the late afternoon punchy, or like I like saw like some numbers I didn't like, and then you have big quantities, then I'll do like personal deals with people.
Like, that's the thing. Well, the whole point.
I've never put out like a 25% off or like $4 shirt or any of that.
Yeah. Well, the whole point of that, like, obviously people who are listening to this are screen printers, but the whole point of doing that is not to necessarily get the $4 shirt order. It's to get a new customer. But the ultimate goal is for you to be like, yeah, this shirt that we're going to print on is like the giveaway shirt, like the Gildan 5000 or the Gildan. I generally like to give people like at least the 8,000. So it's a 50-50. So like it doesn't shrink as much. But the goal is for them to be like, okay, well, that's cool. But like, do you have something a little bit nicer? And then you're like, yeah, like I can upcharge you for the Bella 3001 or the 3001 CVC. And then like, then you're basically getting back to like your normal pricing
Normal land
of like, yeah, you're doing a one color print on a Bella. And then they're like, okay, cool. Like they basically just were like, all right, now I got better status shirt and you got a new customer out of it. So like that's the goal, is basically to just get like people in the door to be like, ooh, and then they come in and then they get like the better shirt. But like I said, a lot of times there's those people who are just like, yeah, I just need a giveaway and like this is a great deal. So I'll just get the $4 a shirt deal. But like I said, most of the people end up upgrading because you're like, yeah, you can get a softer shirt and your return on investment because like they're gonna wear it way more and blah 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 with a better shirt, and then they do it, and then you're like I said, you're back to normal land. And then
how do you guys do your pricing? Because we do markup on the shirt plus print pricing. Do you guys do just the true cost of the shirt and only a print price, or do you mark up blanks?
I don't mark up the blank. So basically I just have a spreadsheet that has all of our, I don't want to say we're not marking up the blank, but like I don't add anything to that with my price sheet. I basically am like, okay, this is what I need to make on all my printing, like all the color options, all the quantity options. So basically if somebody comes to us and they're like, I want a Bella 3501 long sleeve, I'm like, okay, I go to Alpha or SNS or wherever I'm ordering from, and I'll just be like, okay, this is the cost. Say it's $4 or whatever. I'll just take that and I'll be like, okay, they want 100 one front, one back. It's going to be, $350 or whatever. I just take that $350, add it to the $4 or whatever, and then it's $7.50 shirt.
Are you doing that in like a Printavo or something, or is that everything's a loose quote?
Yeah, it's just we have every salesperson here just has it like on their desktop of like, this is what you're adding. And Bruce is a good dude. I've known Bruce for a long time, and like it's funny because we had a conversation not that long ago because he's trying to get me to use Printavo, which I'm not against in any way. I told him straight up, I'm like, dude, I'm like that dude who's figured out a way to do it myself that works, and I've been doing that shit for like 11 years now. Like it's going to be really hard for you to come in with a fancy tool and be like, hey, like this will save you a ton of time and energy. I'm just like, I like doing it the hard way because you know what I mean? Like I've done it for so long. Like the funny thing is he showed me Printavo, and there right off the bat, like within 5 minutes, he's like, I could save you this. I could save you this. I could save you this. And I'm like, all right, cool. But like, I'm a dumbass and I'm going to have to learn this software and like all this stuff. Not saying I'm not going to do it because we actually have another meeting lined up to like, for him to like show me more about it. But like,
the reason I love it is because I can, like, right now I have a virtual assistant who's actually in the Philippines, and I taught him Printavo in like one day of him messing around, and he knows absolutely nothing about screen printing, nothing about t-shirts, and I throw him quotes, and before he sends them, he tells me to double check, and it was like maybe 1 week of me finding weird mistakes, and now I just don't write quotes. I like get emails.
What the fuck do you do?
I don't do anything. I think if you're gonna own a business, you gotta act like you just own a business.
You're just a baller.
Well, it's not. It's just what I learned was that the more I had a job, the less I could like balance things. Like if I had an 8 hours of work being the salesperson, I couldn't be a good salesperson and do the other stuff that like the owner was supposed to do. Mm-hmm. So I just kept canceling things I had to do. I mean, I started literally being the person on the press, and now like, I mean, I can print as well as anyone.
Now you just watch Netflix and drink hot cocoa all day by the sounds of it.
I mean, I read emails.
Do you, or do you send them off to the Philippines?
I read them, and then I send one sentence to Janwan, and I say, Janwan, here's the quote you're going to make for me, and then I'm done.
This is amazing.
I mean, you got to, you got to automate yourself out of the business, and then you can actually do other stuff, in my opinion. Like,
No, that's fine. That's what you want to do. I'm 100% behind it.
I mean, if I was on the press right now, I guarantee you Shirt Agency's smaller. I know that for a fact. If I'm supposed to like run jobs because people want like the cold touch, which in no way is better than my guys doing it.
That's a great sales pitch.
I make less money,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, that's the thing is like I don't print at all. Like I only print for like our own stuff or like me doing a project. Like I'm never on press.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is that's how I've always been. Like when I started and like when I did Terminus, I was always a sales guy. Like I can talk to people and I can sell and I research the shit out of this industry. So like I know everything, but like basically all I've done is taught other people and then they run the business. Like not run the business, but they run the presses and do the actual printing.
Yeah.
And then I just do like, you know, my emails and marketing and the day-to-day shit. Like that's pretty much all I do all day long is emails and then like ordering and you know putting out fires and new processes and stuff like that. But I don't have anybody in the Philippines fucking doing quotes for me.
You know how much it is for him to work and he says that I overpay him?
I don't even want to know. I do want to know, but
I pay him $120 a week
a year
that's above the going rate. And so he's like thrilled that we would pay him that much a week. It's unbelievable. He'll text me at like 9 p.m. my time. And he's like, I just wanted to make sure that this went well. So I'm going to ask you a question. And I'm like, I'm going to wait to reply till tomorrow. Because like, you're just eager. But
yeah.
He's like terrified of me not wanting to keep him.
Yeah.
I've never threatened to fire him the whole time. And it's just because their economy is so different than ours. $120 a week is a ton of money.
I mean, that's kind of awesome. Like realistically, like if you can employ him and that amount of money for him is like, holy shit, this is awesome. Then fuck yeah, do that. I mean, that changes the whole thing. Like you're helping out a dude that's helping out you and you're exceeding his like hopes and dreams.
If in LA, I have a $15 minimum wage. So the worst human who is capable of working is still $15 an hour. So if I wanted to get a salesperson to write quotes, realistically, the people applying would expect like 19, 20 an hour starting. And I guarantee you they're not messaging me at 9 p.m. excited about a lead that came in at night. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're probably mad that I'm not paying them 22. So it's like the way that the labor force works in LA, it's like it's a lot of people who expect to get paid for not much. And then there's some good people, but it takes forever for us to find good candidates and not just candidates that want to like get through the day and get their hours. Like when we put out a request for like a new job opening, we'll get like 100 people applying and I'll maybe choose between 2 or 3 because so many of the rest of them are just terrible candidates.
Yeah. Dude, it sounds like you would be way better off like in the sticks.
I'm thinking that a lot.
Yeah. Like we pay like definitely over minimum wage, but minimum wage here is like $11.75.
Mm-hmm. So you're paying good guys the price I pay the worst person.
Right.
Because I don't even have anyone in my building who I pay minimum wage.
Right.
So it's like LA's rough. It's not nearly as exciting.
Well, it's also like on fire.
Yeah. It's been we've had like the unhealthy air, I think, for like a week and a half or maybe.
Well, don't you guys have unhealthy air on a normal day?
No.
Just like smog or whatever the hell it is?
I mean, we have smog compared to like the country, but LA actually cleaned up quite a bit as far as the smog, at least compared to the way it used to be.
Yeah.
Because it's like the most ridiculously liberal government ever. So the amount of rules that they put on industry, they basically just killed all the industry that was polluting in LA, instead of like letting them keep running.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm pretty burnt out on LA. I mean, we even had like one of my customers runs an art gallery, and he sat in his art gallery holding a gun because his street was literally having the windows blown out and people were looting. So to like protect his business, he sat in there with a gun. And I'm like, no, thank you. Like he's
Yeah.
only a mile from my shop. I just wasn't on that street.
Yeah.
It's
I'm not.
crazy.
I'm gonna say this because most of the people who listen to this aren't near me, but like, I barely lock our doors.
Yeah.
Like,
I have gates with padlocks over
yeah,
the glass windows.
the house I grew up in, like, we just never locked the door, and I don't even think the door latched. Like, you just pulled it shut.
I gotta go to the country. I gotta buy like a big giant steel warehouse building, and then like half a mile away I'll build a house, and
Yeah,
then that'll be it.
yeah.
No more city.
Well, it's like my house too. Like, I have an old, like, Victorian house. Like, have you ever seen, like, Jared Hennis's house? He has that, like, huge, like,
Yeah, I
black.
saw a picture of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his house is like my house. Like, I don't have the big steeple thing, but, like,
Mhm.
I have that big old house like that. And, yeah, like, the amount that I paid for it is, like, it's stupid that I have, like, that size house for, like, where I live. Well, the thing is too, is it's like, I don't live like, I don't wanna be like, "Hee-haw," like, I live out in the middle of fucking nowhere, but, like,
Yeah.
I'm 10 minutes from Binghamton, which is a decent sized city. I'm a half hour to 45 minutes from Syracuse, which is, like, a big city.
Mhm.
And New York City is, like, 2 hours away. Like,
Yeah.
we're
So
near a ton of shit.
if you want to have your New York weekend, you just head over.
Yeah, and if I wanna do anything, like, if I like I said, I wanna go to Syracuse, I'm there in 45 minutes. Like, the thing is, like, you, like, live in LA, like, you might be like, "Oh, I wanna go here." It's probably gonna take you longer to get there because of traffic than it's gonna take me to fucking drive on the highway for 45 minutes at 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, if you want to go from our shop to the beach, which I think is something like 7 miles, it can easily take you an hour.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is you could be like, "Oh, I live in the city, I have this fucking life of blah, blah." It's like, dude, I can go somewhere just as cool in the same amount of time, if not less.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
and
putting on more miles.
the amount of money we would save if we did anywhere near the same revenue, the amount of money we would save would mean that I could just fly places and not care at all because I'd be saving so much on like just the lease payment would save me so much that I wouldn't care if I had to like meet a client.
Yeah,
Like if somebody was obsessed with meeting in person and it was a big enough order, I could just buy the plane ticket and it wouldn't matter.
yeah. Well, the thing is, like, nowadays too, like, the quality of everything on the internet's so good, you could do this. You could do a Zoom call with anybody and
Hmm.
get, like, the same. That's the thing, is I have really big clients that hit us up too that are, like, all over the US. They could be in, like, Texas or LA or whatever. Realistically, all they wanna do in person is see the blanks. Like, they wanna be like, they wanna feel and touch. All I have to do is call SNS and be like, "Hey, this customer wants to see this color, this color, this color in size large of a Bella, and then they wanna see this in independent." And they're like, "Okay, cool. Like, you do enough business with us, we'll just send samples." So they, like, send samples to that customer the next day.
Yeah.
So, like, I could be talking to them at 4 o'clock, and then I call my rep and I'm like, "Hey, send samples." Literally the next morning, that customer has samples at their doorstep.
Well,
And
that's
then
something
I get on a phone and I'm like, "Hey, I talked to them about it." And they're like, "Okay, cool." Like,
that's something to talk about though, is how bad are you getting affected by inventory issues and UPS slowdowns?
I don't wanna talk about it.
Because
It's
the
not
amount of times I've had
honestly.
to argue with people about how it's not my
Yeah.
fault there's no stock. There's literally no stock nationwide in certain colors.
I
It's
haven't had to I haven't had to once, maybe a couple times, like, actually have the conversation with the customer and be like, "We can't get this." Like, I feel like most of it is just on my end where a customer orders next level 3600 or whatever, and they
Mhm.
get small through 4X. I just have to basically order the small through 2X, and then the 3X and 4X, I have to, like, comb the internet
Right.
for anything that's available. And then I might email the customer and be like, "Hey, like, for the 3X and 4X, I got you Bayside, like, something comparable, or, a Fruit of a Loom or something." But the thing is that, yeah, it sucks to sub out, but the truth of it is that those dudes, like, I'm a big guy, so I understand. Those dudes that are 3X and 4X don't want the fucking next level or Bella anyway, because this
No.
shit's gonna look painted on.
Yeah, it's
Like,
all complaining.
right, they want the Bayside or the Fruit of a Loom that's like a boxier tee. So, like, realistically, I'm doing them a favor. They don't know it, but, like, I'm doing them a favor by getting them more heavier, boxier tee. It just sucks. Like, I hate every day that I have to order, knowing that I have to, like, hunt for every invoice and find shirts. Like, to me, that's the biggest, shittiest thing. But the way that we order too is like, say today I'll get 10 orders in that paid. I order the blanks that day. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, the slowdown sucks, but like realistically, we're getting the shirts before turnaround anyway.
Yeah, right.
So it
Yeah,
is
we
what it is.
order almost every day unless we have a weird off day where the sales just are slow for that day.
Mm-hmm.
But like Bella kids and Bella fashiony women stuff has been a nightmare for stock. And then we've had the same kind of issues with like some Gildan products, some alternative products where it's just we're not even getting clear answers as to when it's gonna be restocked.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a rep yesterday from one of the big distributors, and he had a conversation with the president of that company, and they were saying they're expecting Q4 to get worse because, from what they're understanding from the mills, like they don't have it under control, and we're not just going to be replenished in October. There's going to
Yeah.
be more holes going into Christmas.
Yeah.
So
we
see how
talked to, me and Andy did a podcast with SNS, and basically he was like, don't expect like stock issues to be fixed until at least December.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I was told.
Yeah. So it's like, cool. Well, the funny thing is, we were trying to be nice. Like, obviously, we're talking to somebody from an industry or whatever, and we were talking to him, and then he said that, and I was basically like, "Fuck you!" Like, that sucks. Like, not to him, obviously, but just like in general, right?
The distributors are getting like hosed because here they are, like they put their POs in 6 months early, and then their POs aren't getting fulfilled on time. They're getting chewed out by their customers, and the mills just say sorry. Like I don't know what's going on. I know that some of them had issues globally with getting the fulfillment done, getting the actual sewing done in different countries because of different shutdowns with COVID. So I don't know if people are getting more used to how to fix that, but
well, that was the whole thing with like the mask stuff. That like we didn't get into masks. I don't really want to get into that crazy conversation too much, but that was the thing in the beginning. Was like people, well, with Bella specifically, they were putting out the thing saying like never touched by human hands. Like you don't have to worry about like the masks being contaminated. But it's like, dude, that shit's getting sent to you by UPS, and then fucking Joe's bullshit print shop is opening the box, coughing in the box, like folding them out by who knows who, printing them with plastisol, and then sending them to you. And it's like, what's the point of having like these precious masks when like they were touched by like 10 dudes who probably have COVID?
I literally saw somebody market that their dryer killed the germs.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And I was like, you gotta just go away. You should just not It was like the mask thing. We'll print we had 1 month where we sold like $30,000 in masks all at once because we actually had stock. Like having stock for a second was like a miracle. And then now every company that makes masks is putting them on sale. Like people who were selling me masks for $4 are calling me and asking me to buy their masks for like $1.50. And I'm like, I don't need them either. I'm sorry you made way too many, but it's kind of handled. Like all the big guys turned it back into a commodity. So why are these like weird like fly by night mask companies going to continue to exist?
Well, the problem is too is that like for a while they were like, oh, well, everybody's going to need a mask, and you know, if you print masks and sell them online, it's going to be a thing where everybody has to get a mask. But the problem is now you can walk into fucking Target or Walmart or anything. There's racks and racks of masks. The funny thing is the mask that I wear is from Target. Like it's just, I have the availability to buy all these masks online, and like the one I like that fits me the best is I don't even know where it came from, like who made it, but it was like I got it at Target and it fits me the best, and it's like that's the one I wear.
I know of companies right now sitting on 100,000 plus masks and hand sanitizers, and it's not their normal business. They just thought it was a gold rush.
Yeah,
they threw all their money into something that now they have to like clearance because they have no idea what to do with it.
We've talked about this a ton of times, but like there's a lot of people doing it right, and there's a lot of people doing a great job with masks. Like I don't want to knock them at all because they're doing good. I just feel like there was a lot of sharks at the same time that were like, I've got stock and you don't, so fuck you. And
yeah, I mean we're still selling them to people who ask for them. We're mostly using the US blank ones. Those
Yeah.
turned out to be like a really nice quality product, but
Yeah.
it's certainly not our focus anymore.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we've just been doing shirts the whole time. We have one customer that we said we'd do masks for, and he had to beg me basically to do them. Like I told him no like 3 times, and he was like, "I need these for my employees," and I was like, "Fine, fuck it." The funny part is those masks are like really cool masks. Like we did like 4-color water-based print on them,
Oh,
where it
nice.
looks like a big like goofy like cartoony smile and stuff, and it's got like ooze coming out of it. They came out cool, but like I won't even post them on Instagram or anything because I know as soon as I do, I'm gonna
You'll
have
get more leads.
50 people be like, "Hey, where can I get those?" And it's like, I don't want to do
Yeah, exactly.
them. I don't have. Thing is I'm doing them on like they're the flat ones that have no sewing, no nothing. It's literally like cut out piece of.
Hmm.
These ones were poly, but it's like I I don't have the pallets for them. I don't have all the specialty stuff. We were just like lasering them and laying them on the pallet and like printing them.
Yeah, we built up little nonsense like pads, and then we literally taped it down with pallet tape, and then that was like our little raised pallet for our masks.
Yeah,
It was bullshit. I
jack
know
your
that
off
like
contact.
Action Engineering instantly had their like rock one. That thing came out in like March or April. They
Yeah.
were fast.
Well,
But I
you got to
didn't want
think
to
it's
buy that for every single arm on an
yeah.
auto.
We got to think it's super smart for them because all these people that needed it now have like a hold down for it, and I bet they made a shitload of money off of those. So, are you guys doing any digital printing, like DTG stuff at all?
Yeah, we have a DTG machine. We had two, and then one got old, but I don't know if I'm gonna ever replace it. So I
Mhm.
stopped using the old one because the quality just couldn't keep up with our new one. But I just don't like it. So it's like I don't want to be a dude with 6 DTGs. I could have gone that direction for years. Like
Yeah.
it's always being brought up. Like because we offer fulfillment, we constantly get asked for print on demand, and
Hmm.
I'm like, go hang out with Printful and let them do it. Printful, though, they were like 5, 6 weeks behind earlier this summer because they couldn't handle their own promise of doing print on demand when COVID hit them.
Hmm.
So I'm like, I'm thrilled that I can just take a bulk order, put it on an inventory shelf, and when a sale comes, someone will just pack it and ship it. We don't have to print it, like load the art in, go print one shirt. Like it's just so slow. I hate print on demand.
Yeah, that's something I've been asking. Like all my guests is like, if they're doing fulfillment, like how are they doing it? Because I want to try this quickly, but basically, like I've done fulfillment in spurts like throughout the 10 years I've been doing this. Like in the beginning, we were doing band stuff, and it was like, all right, let's make a band fulfillment website, and we did that for a while, and then we got out of band, so we stopped doing it, and then I got back into it a little bit, and then the problem is I just didn't focus on it too much because I was the only one doing it. Because to me, it was like I generally start up parts of the company, and I'm the one who figures it out and tweaks it, and then I hand it off to people when it's like ready to go. So
Hmm.
like I babied it for a while. I crashed and burned on a couple of stores because I didn't have the time to pay attention to them. So I put it on the shelf. I was like, fuck it, let's not do it. And then like a couple months before COVID came, I like really started to focus on it again. And now I feel like we're doing it really well and like things are working out really well with it. But I'm still always trying to figure out a better, more efficient way because like obviously there's places like Printful, like you're saying, that do on demand and it's all digital. And I'm fighting that with my niche that I'm getting into because a lot of these people go do stuff like that. And they're like, oh, on my store with them, I do like coffee mugs and fucking like everything under the sun because they're just doing it digitally and heat pressing it and all this other stuff. And like, I don't want to do that. Like, my selling point to them is just like, hey, like, these are all screen printed. Like, it's quality. It's going to last as long as the shirt. Like, do you want to give your customer like some dog shit print that like is going to wash off or feel like shit after like 5 washes, or do you want something that's like classic that they're going to give like their kids and be like, oh, this is like an old band shirt or like an old, whatever. So like that's been working really well. But the problem is too is like, do we do it where we just fulfill orders like once a week, which is what we were doing in the
Oh,
beginning?
not enough.
Right. Well, the problem is that we're only focusing on the customers we know we're going to sell a lot of stuff. So
Right.
basically, some of our customers are selling like a couple hundred items a week or 1,000 items a week. So basically, every Wednesday we were setting up those jobs from the week before, printing everything, and then
Oh,
on Thursday we were packing and shipping them. So we didn't have anything on the shelf. Like that was my goal, is to not have like tons of stock of stuff and have it on the shelf because back when we did the band stuff, that's how we got in trouble. Is a band would be like, "Oh, I want to do a fulfillment store," and then we would print like 200 items, of a design or something, and then they would just never promote the store, and then we would have a bunch of items on the shelf that eventually we had to like charge them for, and then like ship them out. And it's like,
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that.
You have a different model than us because you pay us 100% up front for everything. So when they call us, they're going to order, we have a 300-piece minimum for fulfillment. And that can be spread across designs, but that's like for the store. And they're paying us for all the printing up front, embroidery, whatever it is. Then they're paying a handling storage fee up front. And if their stuff just sits there dead for 6 months, we ship it back to them.
Mm-hmm.
So like we don't have any risk in it. If they are terrible at selling it, it's on them. And then the ones who are good at selling, because we've definitely had some people who just threw a few grand at us and they thought that meant that they started a business, but they didn't know how to sell. And then we've had other people who like clockwork. It's just like 1,000 units, 1,000 units, 1,000 units. But they're basically deciding their own inventory. So if they're wanting to do, a big sale for Black Friday, they're ordering from us 2 weeks ahead of time so that it's all waiting, so that when Black Friday hits and we get the sales, their customers seeing tracking within one business day.
Yeah, because
they're not getting like, hey, we're in a week, we're then going to start printing, and then a day or two later we can start figuring out the labels.
Yeah.
Because
I'm like doing it kind of ahead of time. Like basically, if somebody orders up to Wednesday, I'll print off all the packing slips. I'll get like all the labels ready and everything like by Monday, and then they'll get the notification that I actually got to the post office or whatever by like Wednesday. So like I'm trying to keep them to where it's like not, oh, I have to rush and get everything done by Wednesday. I'm trying to get it totally ready. So like literally when it comes off the press, instead of her like laying them out, she's folding them and putting them in piles of like they're going up today. Like they're getting shipped today. My thing is I'm trying to meet in the middle because the niche I'm going after is like those people who are like used to Printful and like all these other places where it's like instant. Well, my thing is like I'm trying to make it as fast as possible, but I'm also trying to keep the quality because I don't want to do DTG. I don't feel like it's there yet. I feel like it's a great tool. I just don't feel like it's there where I want it to be like comparable with screen printing. So,
I mean, just make them front their own inventory.
Yeah.
We haven't had that much pushback from the people who have real money. What we've been doing is like we have them launch with a pre-order. They get confident with the pre-order. They normally order like double because they're selling it for so much that they can pre-order 250 units. And then when they see that they sold them out already, they'll order like 500 from us.
All right, but what are you making? What are you making off like a sale? Are you making like a percentage?
No, it's just a completely normal order plus a handling fee to us.
Okay, so you're just making
handling fees are $1.80 to $2.40 depending on volume. Right. And then our costs are our costs. So like if you want to order 1,000 shirts from us and pick them up, or you want us to do fulfillment, the only difference is the handling fee.
The handling fee, right? See, I'm probably making more doing it my way just because I'm doing it like a regular, like if you were doing you were a school and you were doing like a pre-sale where I'd be like, okay, I'm selling a tee for $25. I just give the customer the $10. Like at the end of the sale, like every shirt you sold, you get $10.
Pay out.
Right. So I'm basically at the end, every week that I print, I'm basically sending them a payment of like, okay, you sold 200 shirts. Here's $2,000. And then we go back to doing what we were doing again. So like, I'm probably making like a lot more per shirt, but like I have to do that, like printing every week basically. So I guess it's a trade-off of like, what are you doing? Cause for me, the customer, when they come to me, they could be, a big name that can sell a lot of shirts, but they don't have to put anything up front. Like they don't have to pay for anything. Like we set up the store for free. We put all the designs in there, everything. And then they basically just say go, and they like promote the shit out of the store. And then I just cut them a check once a week. So to them, they're like, oh, cool, this is awesome. But like I said, for me, it's just logistics. Like I'm like, how do I keep up? Like if I end up with like 30 stores, I'm going to have a press dedicated to just printing fulfillment stuff because
that's what I would be afraid of is that because I have 100+ stores that we've set up.
Right. I don't have that.
And all those people paid me up front. So if I have people that I don't want to do work for and they're willing to pay me up front. So I feel like if I offered your model, I would be flooded and have no idea how to tell who sucks and who doesn't.
Mhm.
And then I can find myself with like 18 shirts that are a 9-color screen printing
Yeah, I
job
won't do that. I won't do that.
because I picked wrong and I didn't realize that that person's design wasn't going to sell versus this. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
decide anything. I just want to have a price and just be like
Right.
Olive Garden. And
No,
just
it makes total sense.
price.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's just not like I'm literally like hand picking basically the people that we're going to offer a store to because
Yeah.
I don't have the infrastructure yet. Like eventually I could do that where it's just like its own part of the business, whatever. Like literally right now it's like our stores are run by me and me alone. Like I print the labels, I set up the store, I do everything, and then basically right now when uh it's the time for them to ship, I just hand a stack of packing slips and a stack of labels to our girl out there who does like folding and bagging, and I'm like, have fun today. Like,
With the long wait times for customers, you don't get customer service issues with people being like, hey, it's been 12 days.
not really. I just let them know up front. Like basically when they order from the store, it says like so and so store wants to keep up on quality, so we print and ship once a week. Um, and then basically like in Inksoft that I use for that, I just take out the thing where it like gives like the automated like estimated shipping time. Like I just took that out of the email that they get. So basically when they get an email, it just says, hey, thanks for the order. Um, you know, it's printed once a week, blah, blah, blah. You'll get a notification when it ships out. And
Well, what would you do if a band had an established Shopify? It's already doing well. They're already doing 13 styles, and they come to you and say, "Hey, we want you to do all our printing and fulfillment." Are you going to migrate them over to an Inksoft and change
no,
your entire
I'd
model?
probably do a separate model for that. I would probably do like what you're doing where I would just like stock the stuff on a shelf and then link them to my ship station.
Yeah.
To where basically I go in every day and X amount of orders are in my ship station. I just print the packing slip and print the label, and then I'll just pick them off the shelf. So that's the thing. It's like for me, it's two different models, but like I want to figure out what's the best way to do it because I want to make a good amount of money on it, but I also want to like take care of my customer too. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I said. I'm just asking everybody because I'm kind of trying to like make my own way with it that works without sacrificing quality. Because I feel like at a certain point you just have to sacrifice quality because you're like, well, like you don't have to your way because you're printing them in bulk, but like I said, I'm trying to meet in the middle where I'm like giving them, because with Printful it's probably the same thing. They just like sign up for it and then
and they're paying a fortune. If you're successful in using Printful, you're paying a fortune for every single shirt.
right, exactly.
And it really scales very well. I mean, I think it's one of those things like, do you want to have a public policy or do you want to be somebody who somebody knows and you can make money as like a personal connection? I personally don't want to ever talk to anyone ever again if I could get away with it.
I
try to make it like a public policy kind of a business.
Yeah.
But,
so I guess for the people watching this podcast, we had to take a break and we re-recorded on a separate day. So yeah, I didn't want to kind of abruptly end. I wanted to kind of close this out a little bit more, but
yeah, totally.
I wanted to ask you about your live printing situation because it seems like you guys hit that pretty hard the last year or two, or however long you've been doing it.
So yeah, we did it. The first time we tried to do it was because Bella Canvas wanted to do some stuff with Live Nation. So they asked if we could do it. And since I had manuals, I figured, sure, let's try it. And then those Live Nation parties were really fun. They weren't all that lucrative, but they were like a ton of fun. And so we started actually advertising that it was something we offered. And within like 2 months of that, we landed a contract to do like the raceways with Hyundai. So then we started live printing with Hyundai, and that took us like all over the nation.
So how do you go from doing like a couple local events to like getting a Hyundai thing?
If I had decided out of the blue to start being a live printer, I probably wouldn't have been able to get that. I think that was because Shirt Agency already had like a high local listing anyway. So then we ranked for live screen printing really fast. I mean, there's a few people that just destroy it in live screen printing, like Family Industries and Barrel Maker. They just crush.
Yeah.
And honestly, they probably do more live screen printing than us still. It's just that the Hyundai contract specifically allowed me to go to like, whatever, 12 states a year. So
Yeah.
it was just a lot of fun to do traveling. And then once we started posting that we were traveling and doing live printing, our credibility for other clients kind of skyrocketed.
Right.
Just because our videos and pictures looked good.
Yeah. So I guess if you're willing to share a little bit, I don't want to get into crazy and ask you about all your money stuff with that. But to me, it's kind of like we've done live printing for, I don't even know how many years now, like 6 years or something. But we've only ever done local stuff. And like we basically have like the van and trailer. So we have a trailer that basically holds all of our live printing stuff. So we leave it in there. It's not like we have to take it in and out of the shop.
Yeah.
But just like logistics of like taking that stuff to an event and like unloading it and like setting up and like bringing all your own shirts. Like, how do you go from that to being like, oh, we have to fly here and like set up shop someplace else? Like, do you just ship all your gear and then like you order the shirts to be delivered there?
Yeah. So I have. So what we do is we pre-print the shirts almost always. So sleeves and backs are getting done ahead of time.
Okay.
And then maybe there's 1 or 2 designs available on press live. And then for Hyundai specifically, we have a Hyundai setup, and it's on the road with their big trailers for the raceway and everything. Okay. So we have an entire setup, dryer, inks, printer, everything, always on the road. And so we only see that at a raceway. And then we have a whole nother live printing setup that's always in LA so that we can land other orders. Right. And then we have our actual gear for the shop. So we're never having to like break down the press we use and take it somewhere. Because
we do that too. It's just weird to be like, like I get that there's these companies that do it and they're doing it for like really big companies, but to me, it's really weird to like Family Industries. Like I really love those guys and I love everything they're doing. But to me, it's like, how do you get a client to be like, I'm willing to pay to fly like 8 people or however many people it is to.
You don't do it with 8 people.
Right. Like, I'm just saying like for them, they're doing huge events where they have 5 presses and all that sort of stuff. I'm just saying anybody, even you, like, how do you tell a customer like, hey, pay for my like flight, food, hotel, everything when they probably have a local live print person in that area? Like, why don't they just go to a local guy instead of like flying people all over the place?
I mean, I think the answer is marketing agencies. I mean, like, I don't know the real numbers to everybody's corporate, marketing budgets, but what I've been seeing is that there's a certain level of corporate where spending $500,000 on a event is going to happen. Right. So the live printing setup costing them, like we've had times where our live printing budget was like $25,000-$30,000. And we would like go to Miami, have all our gear. We only had 2 of our staff there, and every other staff person was brand ambassadors who were local. So all the like organizing the line, organizing the blanks, organizing the sizing, all that is handled by local brand ambassadors. So you can fly in and basically just be t-shirt printers. And then the way we do it is we're $125 an hour as a like feature. So you're paying $125 if we print 1 shirt or 200 shirts, right?
Right.
But you're paying normal shop prices on everything else. So we still have a markup on the blank. We still have the actual cost of the printing. So they're still paying whatever, $7.10 a shirt like they would if we just did it at the shop. Right. And then they're paying $125 an hour plus expenses for each press that they want to have at the show.
Right.
So it's normally things that it's like a weekend event. So we fly in like Thursday, and then there'll be Friday, Saturday, and maybe Sunday. And they just want to look packed and busy and exciting.
Yeah. No, I get it. And it's definitely not like anything that we remotely are trying to do or kind of want. Like, it'd be fun to do once in a while, but I don't have the staff to be like, hey, go here for like a week or go do this thing. I've just always been curious about it. I'm like the events that we do around here are good events, but it's like I could never see that person or that, I guess, that company be like, yeah, I'm willing to spend like this much more money just to get you here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just always curious about like that. And it's just funny because I remember you did, what did you do? You did, the raceway near me or whatever. And you posted like, look at this tiny fucking airport. And I was like, yeah, dude, that's home.
Yeah.
That's
You
the Ithaca
texted me
airport.
like immediately. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, dude, you're like 15 minutes from me right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I think, but the thing is, if you're, especially like with the Hyundai being a tour, them trusting a new local guy and all the headaches that pop up
Mm-hmm.
for every event, like maybe they could save money, but the headaches and
It's the peace of mind.
it would be crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, nobody does it the same. Even if they're pretty similar, people have different policies for like how they're going to set up, how they're going to tear down, what all their
Right.
staff are going to wear, all that kind of stuff. So I mean, there's just marketing budgets that are absolutely massive, and they're out there. Like when you start working with some of those marketing agencies, you'll find out that they have a $3 million budget for 1 month, and they're supposed to spend all $3 million on only live events, and they're scheduling this stuff, week after week. They've got staff that's way bigger than just the screen printer in the corner.
Yeah. That's crazy to me. Whatever. I mean, it's work for you guys. It's work for all these other live printer guys. It's just, to me, it's like we just do it for fun. Like we do it for like going to have a party on a weekend and like making some side cash. It's not like it's not like a part of the business that's like, we're expecting this amount of dollars and all this other stuff. It's just like
We
split the money at the end, basically.
we do the opposite because it's such a pain in the ass. So like we have a $3,000 minimum on it, and if you don't want to pay $3,000 minimum, we're just
Like, we're
say
not
no,
going.
even if they're local. Like because by the time you ruin whatever chunk of your day to get there, set up, tear down, like the amount of calls we've gotten for people who are like, "Hey, I want my husband's 60th birthday party to have a live printer," and they think they're going to pay us like $300-400 to do it. It's like there's no way.
Yeah. No, we've definitely made way less than that at an event. We don't do this anymore, but it was like when we first started, we were taking anything and everything we could get. You know what I mean? We were taking like, so anyone would be like, "Oh, I'm having a party," and be like, "All right, we'll do it." And then like basically after like a year or two, we like decided like these events suck, and then these events are good. So now pretty much we have those ones now where it's like you with Hyundai or whatever, where it's like every year they're going to be there and they want to do stuff. So for us, it was kind of like, now we have all these corporate events where it's just like every year they're like, "Oh, you guys are going to come next year, right? You guys are going to come next year, right?" So like now we've just got like our year's worth of like events like that are cool. So
That's what that's the logic we hold for like our shop too, is we don't really want to be fighting to get the local soccer team.
yeah,
Like we want to have recurring big customers, and in a magical world, I'd love to raise our minimums. So right now our minimums are still down at 25 pieces, and a lot of times you end up with headaches because customers don't even know how to order, what to order. You do a lot of hand holding, and then a pro sends you a PO for 5,000 units, and it's one email. They don't even, it's just a totally different experience.
We've definitely talked about this a ton of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always the people who have good budgets, that have good artwork, that have everything, where it's like 2 emails long. And the first email is, "This is what I want," and the second email is, "I paid the invoice." But yeah, it's the guy who wants 12 shirts that'll get you like 35 emails deep.
Oh yeah, I mean every bad Yelp review we have is somebody who was gonna start their brand and they thought we didn't give them enough attention, and they have talk about our customer service because we didn't talk to them for an hour and a half. And it's just like
is Yelp like a thing still? Like you guys still have to rely on it?
We don't rely on it at all, and we don't advertise on it. But I still get an email every time we get a review, and then it's like soul crushing because someone's mad that like we didn't
never a good review.
We didn't do same day samples for somebody. It's like, why would I do that? And then why are you reviewing me because I said no to something? I don't know. We've
never had a Yelp or never had anybody say anything on Yelp.
I
It's
worry
just like,
more about Google Local.
yeah.
Google Local but that matters a lot for us. Just the search engine ranking matters a lot.
This is one thing I like had to add in here, and it wasn't on my question list before, but like I'm getting so fucking sick of it. Did you get spammed by digitizers
Oh
as
yeah,
bad as I do?
I've been getting spammed since like 2008. I remember working at other shops, getting random calls, and they're a digitizer before they pick up the phone, and they always want to talk to the manager. Like
Yeah,
I speak to the embroidery manager, and I'm like, no,
I
you
just
can't.
don't get it. I don't get why it's so bad. Like I get on Instagram especially, I get like probably 10 to 15 DMs a day from digitizers. And it's just
Hmm.
like, dude, what the fuck?
The
And then
phone calls drive me crazy.
I probably get 3 calls a day on my cell phone, and then Sarah probably gets a couple on the phone up front too. And it's like, why are you guys so hard up? Like, what? I don't understand why it's such a market where it's like ultra spam now.
I don't know. I think they figure they land like 1 in 100, so you might as well call 100 people because they're always offering to undercut each other too.
Yeah.
Our digitizer is a dude in Canada, and we just love like his actual work, like because you know how bad a digitized file can be. It can be that like janky trace thing that they do. So getting a good digitizer, I think, is worth the money.
Yeah.
I know
I'm
we
glad
don't.
I don't deal with any of that stuff. I don't deal with any of the embroidery.
Do you have a
Um,
machine?
no.
Oh, okay.
We got kind of lucky because like we offer embroidery and we do a lot of it, but like literally there's a shop across the street from us that's
Mm-hmm.
all they do is embroidery.
Yeah,
So like I just give everything to her. Like I just have like special pricing with her where it's like wholesale, and I'm like, "Hey, we email her every day and they're like, "Hey, like we got a customer who wants 500 shirts, but they also want 12 polos." And it's like, "All right, well, we send the polos to her. She drops them off, and then we just put them in with the shirts and ship them out." So
yep.
it's
That's
kind
what
of
we.
stupid for me to like get an embroidery machine and learn a whole nother part of the business when there's
They're
a
so
capable person across the street.
Yeah, they're so noisy. And then you have to also have somebody on staff who is the embroiderer. And if you don't have enough demand for a 40-hour work week, then what? You're like cutting hours or telling him to sweep up, Doesn't
Right.
feel like you have to be really killing it with embroidery or just outsource. Because we outsource everything to one of two shops. It almost always goes to one place, but sometimes they get too packed and we go to a second guy. And it's great. Plus, you don't have to hear that horrible needle noise. That needle noise when it's just in the back of the shop all day, that's a headache thing.
I have no idea what that is.
When you have like those big 8 head embroidery machines,
Yeah.
especially
I
two or
know they're
three
loud.
running, it's like, and you
Yeah.
just hear it everywhere in the building. Awful. Terrible. I always wonder what you guys do when you have like a cold night, you don't run the heater in the shop, and then you come in and like the plastisol's almost impossible to stir.
Yeah. Well, I just have it like we just have to pay for heat. Like we just have
You just run the heater all night.
yeah, like we shut the dryers and everything off like when we leave like normal, but I just have like I don't know if you saw on any of my old Instagram stuff, but like basically in the wintertime for like 10 years when I bought this whole building ran off of a wood boiler. So
Oh
all winter long I would get here in the morning, I would feed the stove wood, and then at 5 o'clock I would fill it with wood again, and then I'd have to come down at midnight every single night, no matter what, and put wood on it. So that way, when I got here at 8 or 9 in the morning, it was like ready for wood again.
that's
Um,
insane.
so the whole shop like had like I said, it was a wood boiler, so it was like a fire, and then there was a shell of water around it. So it would heat the water, and then it would pump the water through the building, and there's like exhaust fans that like have you're blowing hot air through. So the whole shop, everything, all my rental spaces were all heated with wood.
Oh my god. And
Yeah.
so what are you now? Did you get a gas line or something? Or a propane tank?
Well, this year specifically, because we're doing the renovations next door, we're getting those split units. So it's like heating and cooling in the same unit, but they're electric. So
Is that gonna be really expensive?
it'll definitely make my electric bill go up. But for me, like I don't have to feed the fire.
Yeah,
I
well
don't
that's
have to
crazy for
fucking,
you to come at night, yeah.
yeah, midnight every night for 6 months, dude. no matter what, I could be exhausted. I could be fucking in bed asleep. I have to like get up at midnight, come down here, shovel like 2 feet of snow to get to the fucking wood stove, and then put wood on it and go home.
You're a different kind of owner than me.
Yeah.
I would have snoped out of the whole building. Just like, no.
No, dude,
Nope.
I did that for 10 years.
Wow. That's amazing.
This is the first year where I'm not going to do it. And I'm really excited.
I'm glad you get to sleep now.
But basically in the actual shop area, there's a propane furnace. So that'll kick on. And I keep it at like 60. So exactly for that reason. So like plastisol won't like get solid. Plus we have a turnabout for like our whites. So our white is constantly spinning. So it's always like creamy. It's not like thick and solid. But yeah, I mean, winter fucking sucks, dude. Like there's no way around it. It's cold. I mean, I like winter because I'm from here.
Yeah.
But like work wise, it's cold. It slows down. It just is what it is. But like, there's a trade off. It's the grass is always greener. You're like, oh, cold and snow sucks. But I don't have wildfires. I don't have tornadoes. I don't have crazy animals. It's just like here. It's just like peaceful in the mountains and whatever. But we have fucking snow, so it's like.
Oh, we had an earthquake too this week, so that was fun.
Yeah, I don't have that. I have like nothing. It's just like we just have, humid summers and cold winters.
Sounds not too bad. I like upstate New York. I've gone twice now, I think, and it's like a pretty magical place. We ended up in this super weird casino out near you.
Yeah.
It's like an old person heaven casino, and it's nothing but old people, but it was like brand new. It's like a 1 or 2 year old casino, and they carded me, and I was like, well, I'm getting carded still at this place because like I was the young buck showing up at like 34 years old.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we got to card this kid. He's not over 70.
I think it might be a policy like for New York, like no matter what, they card everybody. No matter, like it could be an 88-year-old guy and they still have to card him. But yeah, we have 2 newish casinos near us. Yeah, I never go, but it's like
it was a really nice one. I got to give you credit compared to like because we have Indian casinos that try to be nice, but just always kind of slide into trashy. And yours was nice. It was a nice casino.
Well, the casinos here are like they try to make them more like resorts rather than like a casino. Because so like everybody around here will go there to like get away or like, it's not like, oh, I'm going to the casino to try to fucking win my money. It's like you go there on your like weekend out with no kids or something. It's like, get a hotel, eat all you can eat food and go to a show or something.
I stayed there because it was like 45 minutes from the track and it worked out great.
Yeah. Did you guys just end up flying right back out of Ithaca or did you go to Syracuse or something?
For that one, we drove to Scranton, Pennsylvania because we thought it was fun. We had lunch at that seafood place from the show. And then we went to Manhattan for like another 5 days.
Yeah.
So it was pretty fun.
That's nice.
It's a lot easier than some of the other trips. Like some of the other trips you go to like Georgia and it's like, I don't want to spend 4 days in Atlanta. But like Manhattan, sure, I'll like tack on a vacation.
Yeah. It's nice. We go once in a while, but it's funny. Like we're from New York, but like I've only been to the city like 5 times my entire life.
Oh, wow. We've been to the city like the same amount.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, it's a hassle. Like it's a pain in the ass to get there. Like it's only like 2.5 hours away, but like the like hour and a half of those 2 hours is just sitting in traffic waiting to like cross the bridge or like get parking or whatever. Like me and Chris went to Madison Square Garden to see like Bill Burr and we could see
played that big of a venue.
Yeah. Like we could
saw him. He made fun of my hair and I was in the front row at the Comedy Store on like a Wednesday. I couldn't imagine paying to see him at Madison Square Garden when like in my mind, he's like the dude on the Wednesday who's like shit talking, looking down.
Bill Burr is my all-time favorite comedian.
Yeah, he's fun. That whole crew of them is really fun to see. Like that whole little like Bert Kreischer and like Tom Segura. They're all like buddies.
Tom Segura is my number 2.
Yeah. As long as you don't like Chris D'Elia, you're good. That's the rule now.
I
You know,
did.
I was
I saw
printing
him.
for Crystalia. He was one of our clients.
Oh, really?
I'm not needing to print for him currently, but he was
Yeah.
one of my clients. Yeah, we didn't ever offer like a store thing like from our business. Like we still do like Tom Papa's store. Um, but yeah, we never build stores for people. Instead, we're a printer who will ship.
Right. You just
I
offer
mean,
the fulfillment side.
maybe I'm missing out not being part of that like kind of advertising marketing team. I feel like I almost need like a marketing agency wing to the company
Yeah.
because then I can supply my own suggestions.
Yeah.
All those dudes do is make money off saying cool stuff.
Yeah.
And then they get a budget to do the cool stuff. Like that's their job.
Yeah. No, they'll come out with like a joke or say something on like Instagram stories that like takes off, and then they'll be like, "Hey, print me some shirts for this."
Yeah.
And then like when that joke's dead and old, they'll just say something else and then make another shirt. But yeah, that's where I was kind of like headed when we were talking before about like DTG stuff. Is just kind of like I had this guest on and he did this funny thing, like make some shirts with this guy's face on it.
That's the thing. Like when things are good ideas, you definitely want to set up an auto.
Yeah.
And when they're bad ideas, you justify your DTG. And that's why I don't invest too much in DTG. I mean, I have two of them. By the way, if anyone wants to buy
two DTGs, they're great.
Not two, just one. I'll sell you my brother GT, whatever it is. It's old now, so
now I gotta edit out all the shit talking we did about DTG so you can sell this thing.
No, I mean, like I said, if I was starting from scratch, I would do DTG and then I would outsource.
Yeah.
But once you have autos, everything feels like. I mean, what happens to me is I feel like small jobs aren't the best use of like our labor force. That's why at some point I want to figure out a way to up my minimum because when I watch a 31-piece job get loaded on an auto, I die inside.
Our minimum's 12. I have a 16 station gauntlet and we do 12-piece orders on it. It doesn't even take one spin.
That doesn't hurt your heart. It doesn't hurt your heart.
It is like, what it is. It hurts my heart. It warms my heart to know that nobody has to print that on the manual.
Yeah, I feel bad for I've toughed it out on manuals before. Well, I mean, I've done live printing. Like at one of the live printings, we did 2,100 units in 2 days, manual, and it was hell. I think transitioning to an auto as early as you can justify the sales, that or just never buy an auto and middleman, which that's a real thing too if you have the right clients.
Yeah. Did you go to ISS last year?
No, I snapped my ankle.
Oh.
So Joni went in my place. That was when you guys saw like
Sublime
bands. Yeah, Sublime.
Yeah, that wasn't anything that cool. I mean, it was different. Like
Sublime
it was
Sublime in Long Beach.
Yeah, it was different. It was fun, but yeah, it was weird. It was like, hey, here's Sublime and Sugar Ray.
Imagine it's like sitting in that room with Ryan when they're like, all right, Ryan, this is what it's going to cost. And he went, we're doing it. And he just like, he like pushes the paper bag across the desk and he's like, you know how much I fucking love Sugar Ray. You know.
It's like the year before. Like, right, the year before was like the fucking yacht cruise or whatever the hell it was.
I like the boat. You went on the boat. I think I saw you on the boat.
No, I was, dude, it was free food. Why would I not go on the boat?
The boat was great.
Yeah.
I felt like the boat was more for like print shops they actually knew. And then this party was like total show off.
Yeah.
Because now I'm not sure how they structured it, but Rock US is now not Ryan it.
Yeah.
Weird because I had some warranty issues and I called Ryan it and they're like, oh, you can't talk to us. Let us send you down the hall and pretend it's a different company. Like, I don't know how they're going to separate it.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot behind that. But the whole like Sublime thing was like the launch party for Rock US. Like, that's what it was.
They went so big.
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about was your podcast. Like, why did you start it when you did, and like what do you want to do with it in the future? So,
I mean, I think the real reason that I started it was to have a reason to talk to like people like Danny. Yeah, when in the world was Danny going to spend an hour with me, like on a phone call and talk about business and building business? There was no way. But as soon as you call the marketing department at Bella and you say, hey, I want to interview Danny for this podcast about t-shirts and we already get views, then they're like, oh, well, of course. Why wouldn't he? He's talking to the people who buy his t-shirts. And so, like, I think a lot of it in the very, very beginning was access. Like, I kind of wanted to just be able to be like, hey, I want to talk to the owner of this, the owner of that. And then it actually kind of turned into more of a small timey. Like, I kind of started big and then went backwards. Because at some point I started working with like small printers and I had episodes where I was like trying to help little shops. But now I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I might, just randomly put out whatever I think. I don't know what people
Cole's
like about
thoughts.
it. Yeah.
Cole's deep thoughts.
You know what happened at like mid March, right? Like I get told to shut down the business and then I just start drinking. And I recorded like a 1 a.m. podcast of me like positive America was about to like burn. And also, also the entire industry's dead. And here I am like, I'm going to tell everyone what's about to happen. And so like at 1 a.m. I record it. My wife like walks in and like just turns around and walks out because she like already sees that I'm ranting into a microphone. And then I realize at like 1:50, I'm like, it's done. And I just press publish. And I wake up like in a sweat at like 7 a.m, realizing I had done that. And I go to delete it. It already got downloaded 300 times. And I was like, oh,
is that still out? Does it still exist?
Long. Now it's gone. Well, 300 people got it.
Damn it.
But yeah, it was like total shit show. No control. And I'm positive that like everyone's about to be like in bread lines. Yeah, it was good. It was a good one.
That's the one I want to hear. I want to hear badly.
It's a masterpiece.
Yeah. My thing with like this, the whole podcast thing was just kind of like, yeah, I talked to a fuckload of printers like on DMs and stuff already. And like, I feel like a lot of people could gain knowledge from like those conversations. But like, I'm not the guy that like knows everything about everything either. Like, it's literally like talking to you about like the live printing thing or like stuff in LA or talking to a printer. Like me and Andy just talked to aisle 6 in Australia. We're talking about shit that like he's experiencing over there or like tips and tricks he has. And like, yeah, I'm learning stuff from all these printers that like I feel like we're all peers and we all want to like learn from each other. So like to me, it's just fucking gaining more knowledge about everything, like just being in a pool with like-minded people that have already figured that out or they haven't figured it out, but you have, and then you share it and this and that. And it's like, now I feel like I'm doing so fucking many of them because I started doing the Upstate podcast and then me and Andy are good friends and we are already called each other all the time talking about shop stuff daily. And he's like, hey, we should do one together. So now I do that one. So I do Shirt Show on Sundays with Andy. And then I do Upstate podcast on Thursdays. And then the following week, it's like, Shirt Show comes out on Monday and then Upstate comes out on Wednesday. And it just basically looks like I'm podcasting every fucking day.
Right.
But I like it. I mean, like I said, to me, it's just like having a talk with somebody. I'm not sitting here with like a list of questions, like question after question after question. Like I only use the questions as like a guideline of like, I don't want to forget to ask them about this because I think it's something that I looked up about them that's important. It's just fun. Like I said,
I think connecting with people is kind of the whole point of the podcasting is like just figuring out what you don't know and what is interesting to you. It's also like the problem with screen printing can sometimes be that you like lock yourself in your little bubble of your shop.
Right.
And I remember like some of the guys I worked for who were the owners, some of them were like really miserable. Some of the owners I worked for. And I think it came down to them like they felt like they couldn't be friends with their staff because they had to like lay down the law. They didn't really have friends outside of the business because they worked 10-hour days as an owner. And then they would just kind of like get older and crankier. And I didn't want to be that owner at all. Like I wanted to be able to like care in some way, even if it means that I'm caring about a part of the business that I don't originally think I care about. Like some of the things I like the most about the shop really aren't like me loving picking mesh counts, like Like you can like parts of your job that you're surprised you like.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like I said, I really like the craft of it and stuff, but for me, it's like, I don't remember who I talked to about that. Oh, I think it was Print Threads where we were talking about having a print shop in this industry in this time is very much like back when we were in like touring bands or like doing band stuff. And it's like we can connect with other shops like they were other bands. You know what I mean? Like talking about the shit that we're using or, you know, how we're getting the sound or how we're doing this and just you all have the same lives basically. It's just there are little differences and it's just nice to be able to shoot the shit with them. Cause like me where I'm at, like there's no fucking printers around. There's nobody I can talk to about the shit that I'm interested in. It's like fuck, what was that? That meme that's always going on about narcos or whatever, where it shows them like in the swing in the yard, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
like when
right.
it's like when you go to the party and nobody wants to talk about screen printing.
Yeah,
And
right.
it's like you're on the bench, like all by yourself, and it's like that's what this is to me. Is like I can live my normal day to day life and not talk to anybody about printing because nobody knows what the fuck I'm talking about.
Right.
But on Sundays and Thursdays, I can talk to like people that like know exactly where I'm at and what I'm talking about.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's nice. But it was funny too. I remember specifically the first time we met was at ThreadX. Was it? Yeah, it was ThreadX. And we sat down at that round, like one of the round tables at like the casino night or whatever. And the people we were with are like, oh, like your personality's a lot like Cole's. And then you sat down and then we ended up talking anyway. But it was funny. Like I've always wanted to do the podcast together because I absorb as much screen printing knowledge as I can find, like on YouTube and like podcasts and stuff. And back when I first started listening to print podcasts, the only two that I could find were basically yours and two regular guys podcasts.
Oh yeah, I think I remember Ryan like introducing me to them.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't really know them very well. I don't listen to podcasts. I just like made it. I mean, yeah, I think I would. I don't know. I feel like I just kind of made it on a whim in the very beginning, and then I just kind of kept snowballing. I was
yeah.
amazed by how many people would say they listened to it because it seemed like such an unbelievably niche thing
Mm-hmm.
that you would just think like no one would ever want to listen to this.
Well, like I said, the problem is there's not a lot of content, but like
Yeah.
the shops that are like our size and stuff, there's not a lot of people talking about shit. So it's nice. Like I feel like that's why a lot of people are gravitating to it now because it's a lot of stuff that people want to hear. So I don't know. I like it. I'm gonna keep doing it. It's fun.
I think you should have just nothing but glow lights in every direction, and you should keep them blinking.
That's what we're doing. Here you go.
Yeah, I think that's not distracting. I think that's definitely the kind of like look you want to go for. Really good attention. Look at that.
Yeah.
And then what you could do is like pay one of your dudes to DJ. Yeah. So you have someone in the back. So like if you say something funny, he's like, wow. Be amazing.
It's so fucking obnoxious. And the best part of it is that now that they're here in the middle of the workday, I'll just shut the lights off and turn these on.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, what the hell is that? The best part now is that there's a road behind this building and people probably see these lights flashing at 9:30 on a Sunday.
So they think you're an upstate underground like rave farm.
Right, definitely. Like I'm selling X in here.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right, dude. I appreciate you doing this with me again.
No problem.
I'll probably delete the whole thing. So don't worry about it getting out.
We'll do it again on Monday.
Sounds good.
All right.
Well, see you. Have a good night, dude.
See ya.